staff, harassment, alarm,
and I'm going to tell you no.
There is concern around your behaviour and how it's making our staff feel.
And I'm going to tell you no.
A request from you to provide me with your name
and
and
I'm
address.
going to tell you no because I've done nothing wrong.
In this episode, Auditor Claude is filming lawfully from public land outside a police headquarters when an inspector storms over, acting as if a crime is underway. He cites non-existent laws, supported by two officers who add hostility in an attempt to intimidate Claude into stopping. When their intimidation fails, they escalate, misusing Section 50 to try to make an arrest without any legal justification. But Claude doesn't act.
Just a little bit concerned as to why you're filming inside Sussex police premises.
Well, first of all, can you actually identify yourself properly for me?
Yeah, of course. My name's Inspector Simon Barden. I'm one of the duty inspectors up in our
Inspector?
Simon Barden.
Simon Barden, okay.
So I work in the Force Contact Control Room, so we're just wondering why you're stood on our property filming into...
No, I'm stood on public property.
Okay.
So let's verify that.
But you're filming into private property?
It makes no difference.
It does.
Why is that? What law am I breaking?
Because you're filming private property and you haven't...
It makes no difference.
Well, it does. You can't film into private property.
Yes, I can.
Okay, under what law?
Okay. The law is I can film whatever I can see in public. Okay, you can't trespass the eye.
Rather than acknowledging that filming from a public place is entirely lawful, he immediately begins demanding explanations. What are you doing with the footage? Is it for personal use? For what purpose? That isn't policing, it's a fishing expedition. He wasn't probing a suspected offense, he was attempting to invent one by pressuring Claude to justify conduct that requires no justification at all. In law, Claude was under no duty to respond. Filming in public is lawful by default, and no statute obliges a citizen to disclose their motives to the police.
But there are staff members that are coming in. You're putting their security at risk because you could potentially...
I'm not putting anyone's security at risk.
But you could be, couldn't you?
No, that's a presumption, okay? I'm not doing anything wrong.
No, it's not a presumption because I said you could. I didn't say you were,
okay.
I said you could be. So that's not a presumption, that's me suggesting that you could be.
Okay, and how would I be putting their safety at risk then?
So what are you doing with those films?
Well, it's for personal use.
Okay. What personal use? Are you going to be sharing those online?
I don't know. Whatever personal use I wish.
Okay. So what is the purpose of you being here today would be my question.
The police is a public service.
Yep.
Okay, and I'm here to actually record what the public pay for.
Okay, but this isn't a police station, this is police headquarters.
It makes no difference. The public still pay for it.
Okay, I don't understand what you're trying to achieve though, because if you want to make sure...
I'm not trying to achieve anything, I'm just filming what the public pay for.
Okay, but if you're trying to prove that the public are paying and getting value for service, surely you'd be better...
I didn't say that. I didn't say that at all.
So what did you say?
Okay, I said I'm just here to film what the public pay for. That's it.
Okay, for what reason?
My own reason.
When the inspector retreats to vague claims of a security threat, it only highlights how thin his position really is. Security is not a magic word officers can deploy when they lack legal authority. Any restriction on someone's rights must be grounded in reasonable suspicion of criminal activity, not a gut feeling or irritation at being filmed. That standard exists in PACE and established case law for good reason. Policing based on emotion would turn everyone into a suspect. Claude was exactly right to point out that feelings are not the law. The inspector's failure to identify any concrete threat...
And do you come here regularly and do this?
That's irrelevant.
Okay. I feel like I've come down to have a conversation with you and engage with you, and you're not particularly willing to engage.
Yeah, but that conversation is irrelevant, okay? That's called fishing for information.
It's not called fishing, it's called engaging with someone. It's called
I'll have a conversation about whatever you want, okay?
But whether or not
I've been here or not, or whether or not I'm actually filming, I'm just doing exactly what I'm perfectly lawfully allowed to do.
What my concern would be is that, do you pose a security threat?
Okay, your concern and what the law is are two different things.
No, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They're not.
Yes, they are.
No, they're not.
Okay, your feelings and what you feel is not the law. Okay, what I'm doing is perfectly lawful.
Not if you pose a security threat.
In what way? You still haven't answered that.
Have you answered my question?
Okay, you still haven't answered that.
Have you answered my question?
I don't need to answer your question.
And I don't need to answer your questions.
Okay.
The moment the two constables arrive, their justification falls apart. They insist that staff coming in and out of headquarters are upset by Plaud's filming, but settled case law makes it clear that police, by the nature of their role, are expected to tolerate a greater level of scrutiny and discomfort. In an attempt to sidestep this, the constables argue that these individuals are off-duty, in plain clothes, and using their own vehicles. That distinction is meaningless. They are still on police property, engaged in or connected to policing functions, and closely associated with the very institution Plaud is auditing. That connect.
Are you recording police vehicles? Are you recording information on police staff?
I'm recording whatever I can see.
Bear with me a second.
Why are you filming here?
Because I'm well within my legal rights to do so.
But why?
It's a public service that the public
Have you
pay
a keen
for.
interest in the police?
Okay, I have an interest in all public services.
So you do this on a regular basis?
Okay, that's irrelevant.
Well, rather than filming us, why don't you ask us some questions and if you're interested in the police,
first of all, okay, if I had been approached correctly, okay, then I would have, okay, but your inspector hadn't, okay. You've come out, you've made an allegation, okay, towards me. No, you did. You made an allegation that your staff, okay, are alarmed and distressed, okay.
Yes,
you should know, as a constable, okay, you should not be alarmed and distressed.
Any person can feel harassment, alarm and distress.
Not when you're an officer. It is case law, and you cannot. You cannot be.
But let me speak. Let me get my point across so you can get yours. Okay?
I can film whatever the eye can see, sir.
Okay, but listen to what I'm saying. Okay, you've just said what you want, so let me speak. Okay, members of staff leaving this building, or this facility, in their plain clothes, in their own car, you filming them has caused them alarm, harassment and distress. Okay? They're not on duty as police officers, so they can feel alarm and distress.
The two constables quickly fall back on the same excuse the inspector used earlier, claiming Plaud poses a security threat. Their reasoning is that he's filming staff vehicle registration plates, but that argument collapses instantly. Number plates are not confidential. They are legally required to be displayed in public. Every one of them is already in the public domain, visible to anyone passing by. Labeling that as a security risk is pure fiction. The claim becomes even weaker when you consider that police themselves have full access to vehicle registration data through the DVLA and internal
Security risk.
From that here all the way round inside this property, okay, I can film.
It doesn't matter. When we book off our system off duty, we're off duty. However, what we are going to clarify is whether what you're standing on is private land.
It's publicly accessible.
No.
It's publicly accessible under Section 33 of the Criminal Justice Act.
We're going to find out whether this part that you're standing on is private.
But then if you can show me the actual signs that state private property along there, okay, no public access, then fine, I will move on. Okay, but there are no signs, and it's publicly accessible.
What is your name, young man?
It's irrelevant.
You've clearly come here for an argument.
No, I haven't. No, I haven't.
Being here, then?
Because I want to film.
Film what? Film what?
Okay, what the public
Film
pay
us
for.
leaving the building.
No, I'm filming what I can see.
Well,
Okay.
what you're doing is you're filming people leaving in their personal vehicles. Okay?
That's not exciting.
And that's a security threat.
No, how is that a security
You've got
threat?
their registration.
That's a presumption.
Do you not see what happens in the world?
That's a presumption.
You're not seeing what's happening in the world.
Okay, yeah, but that is a presumption, okay?
It's not a presumption.
And where you just said, okay, about to do with license plates, okay? License plates are in the public domain, okay? You guys have access to that
You're
information.
putting that on YouTube and you're specifically...
Who said that? Who said that? Whoa. Hang on a minute. Hang on. You said that. I haven't said it. No, don't shout at me.
Listen to me.
Do not shout at me. No, don't shout at me.
So let me have my piece.
Please do not shout at me.
Let me have my piece then.
Yeah, as long as you don't shout at me.
This was the moment the officer abandoned professionalism altogether. After being out-argued on every point of law, he invaded Plaud's personal space, crowding him without any legitimate reason. That isn't policing, it's intimidation. Officers are trained to de-escalate situations and maintain appropriate distance, not to use physical proximity as a pressure tactic when the law isn't on their side. As he leaned in, the officer warned, "Don't touch me," despite the fact that Plaud hadn't laid a finger on him. That wasn't a warning, it was bait, a preemptive move designed to shift blame if tensions escalated. By deliberately creating a situation where even accidental contact could be reframed as assault on an officer, he made it clear
You are a public servant, okay? I am here as a member of the public to film public property, okay, and a public service that the public pay for, okay. I'm doing a completely lawful activity, okay. I'm breaking no law, I'm committing no crime, right, and I shall carry on about my business, okay. If you decide that you want to harass me, then you carry on and do that, sir.
The issue you have.
Could you step back a
is
little
that
bit,
what you're doing is you're causing our colleagues harassment,
Would you mind
alarm, and
stepping
distress.
back a little bit,
Okay?
please?
You're causing our colleagues harassment,
Would you
alarm,
mind
and distress.
stepping back a little bit, please?
Okay. Why don't you step back further over there to
No,
the pavement
because
over
I
there?
moved to here and you came to me. Okay.
I've come
Just
to
because
you
because
it's strange, and I'm asking you why you're filming.
and you
why you're
walk to
filming.
me.
I'm asking you why you're
If
filming.
you don't want to be that close to someone,
I'm
then
asking you
don't
why
walk
you're
up to
filming.
them that way.
Listen to
me for a minute.
Okay. If you ask your colleague to step back, I will talk with you.
Perfectly he's standing.
No, he's walked right the way up. Now, this is me feeling alarm and distress.
He's not in your personal
Okay.
space.
Yes, he is. Okay. He's well within an arm's reach.
The inspector's return to the scene should have restored order, but instead he repeated the same flawed reasoning as his constables. The situation crossed into the absurd when he invoked Section 50 of the Police Reform Act. Section 50 is not a blanket power to demand identification. It applies only where there are reasonable grounds to believe someone is engaging in antisocial behavior affecting members of the public. Ploud was standing on public land, quietly filming a government building. There were no members of the public present, let alone impacted. The inspector's refusal to acknowledge that basic requirement points to either a
You touch me and you get arrested.
I
for
did
assault.
not touch you, so let's get that right. I did not touch you.
Don't touch me. You
Okay?
touch me and you get
I
arrested
did not
for assault.
touch you, so
Okay?
you need to be quiet on that one. Okay? Don't tell me I touched you when I did not touch
Don't
you.
touch me,
I
or
did
you'll
not
be
touch
arrested
you.
for
It's all
assault.
on camera.
Do you understand
Okay?
that?
I did not touch you. Don't
Don't
tell me
reach
do I
forward
understand.
and try and touch me.
Okay? Do not tell me, okay? Right? He's got a real attitude problem. Yes, he has.
You're not listening.
If you'd like to talk to me for a second,
Yeah,
that'd
that's
be great.
fine.
Okay. So I just wanted to clarify some things. You're right, this is a public area. You are entitled to film here. However, your behaviour is causing our staff harassment, alarm and distress.
Who's that then?
So we've had members of our staff complaining about you, filming them, leaving the premises, and that is causing them harassment, alarm and distress.
As a police officer or police officer, they cannot be the victim of being alarmed and distressed. No, they cannot. You need to actually look at that. It is case law and it is there.
Sir, listen to me. Yes, they can.
No, they cannot.
Yes, they can. So as such, under Section 50 of the Police Reform Act 2002, I'm going to ask you to provide me your details,
Okay,
your name
right.
and address.
Now, I will actually state this, okay? Under Section 50, okay, the Police Reform Act, okay, there has to be a member of the public within 150 metres of me.
No, they
okay?
doesn't.
Yes, they
no,
do.
They doesn't,
okay?
because the
Right, you will not be getting my details.
So if you refuse to provide those details, you're liable to be arrested.
You will not get my details. I'll tell you that straight, because I've done nothing wrong.
That's fine. I'm going to ask you again. You have. You've caused our staff harassment, alarm, distress.
And I'm going to tell you no.
There is concern around your behaviour and how it's making our staff feel.
And I'm going to tell you no.
I'm going to make that request from you to provide me with your name and
I'm
address.
going to tell you no, because I've done nothing wrong.
You're under arrest.
Okay, right. Hang on. Just before you do, would you mind just reading my wrist, please?
Plaud's update completely reframes this case. After being unlawfully arrested under Section 50, he didn't stop at making a complaint. He took legal action. The force attempted to settle, but instead of accepting a quiet payout, Plaud rejected it and chose to take the inspector to court. That decision is significant. Settlements allow police forces to bury misconduct without scrutiny. A trial forces everything into the open. If Plaud succeeds, the compensation could be substantially higher, potentially between £5,000 and £15,000, depending on damages and aggravating factors. But more importantly, the inspector's actions would be formally ruled unlawful. That means reputational damage, wasted public funds, and likely disciplinary fallout. From the outset, the inspector demonstrated a fundamental misunderstanding of public filming law, attempting to invent restrictions on the fly. At that rank, it was not just wrong, it was embarrassing. He wasn't educating his officers, he was showing them how to bluff. Rather than de-escalate, he escalated. Rather than lead, he mirrored their errors. The arrest itself exposed a deeper failure of leadership and training, with Section 50 twisted into a tool of punishment instead of its intended role as a safeguard against genuine antisocial behavior. Plaud was correct to point out that no members of the public were affected, and the inspector was wrong to deny it. The conduct of the constables only reinforced the broader problem. From baiting Claude in his personal space to dressing up vague security concerns and distressed staff as legal justification, they showed what happens when weak leadership emboldens frontline officers. They weren't enforcing the law, they were enforcing their emotions. When challenged, they retreated behind their inspector. Ultimately, this wasn't just one officer making a mistake. It was a cultural failure where excuses took priority over accountability. Claims of security and distress were used to conceal ignorance, but Claude dismantled them with ease. By refusing the settlement, he ensured those failures will now be examined under the unforgiving scrutiny of a courtroom. That's it for today's video. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps support independent coverage. Be sure to check out Claude's channel, linked in the description, and show him some support. Thanks for watching. This was Rate the Audit, and I'll see you in the next one.